How's it going, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo. Sorry about the video being a little slanted. World's greatest living artist coming to you here from my art studio. Yeah, there we go. World's greatest living artist. The wife of the world's greatest living artist is also joining us from far away. I got my Starbucks. From the packaging table. And I got my banana. I got a banana because I'm hungry. Been working with my wife here, packaging some work. Ready to take it to the post, right?
Yeah.
Filling up orders for...
So that we can enjoy Christmas.
We can enjoy Christmas. I'm taking a little... you know, you gotta multitask sometimes, guys. You gotta multitask. So today's Friday. It's Friday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Every Friday at noon, I come to you guys with a new awesome video called Takeaway Fridays. This is what I've learned throughout the week. These are things that have helped me become a better artist, a better person, raise my game, raise my level, and be able to do the things that I need to do. Honey, is it okay that I can borrow your phone so I can time myself with this video? Thank you. So get your favorite beverage. Those of you who are going to join in, if you're going to watch this later, I may put it on Facebook, on YouTube. I don't know, because I don't want to reward everybody who doesn't show up. Not everybody's going to get rewarded. That's how it is. So, guys, today being Friday, I'm going to talk about the takeaway of my week. Many things I've learned throughout the week, and things that I should do, things that I shouldn't do, things that shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I want to talk to you about expectations today. Okay, without further ado, expectations. I've talked extensively about when you create artwork, make sure to create artwork from a childlike point, from a mindless, right? Some people call it mindful, but it's really mindless in its more literal form. From mindless point, from a I know I'm gonna make something great, but I don't know in the process. This leads me to expectations. Okay. There's two types of ways, two ways of looking at expectations. One being, I have an expectation, I have to meet it. If I don't meet it, I'm going to, curl in a ball and cry. And I'm going to, I don't know, be sad. And then there's the other expectation, which is the one that the great Rumi talked about, which is, sorry guys, which is, people trying to contact me right now. Which is the one that is expect the world or act as if the world is rigged your way, in your favor, right? So there's different ways of looking at this. The bottom line is that when we have expectations, we really kind of we tend to mix them with perfectionism, with the ideas of things are supposed to look this way. Here's a little example, because I know I may be going in circles with this. Here's a little example. When people are gonna create artwork, right? You're gonna do a painting, whatever you do. You set out an expectation automatically. This happens almost mechanically. You're like, oh, my painting is going to look like this. It's going to take this form. Even if you do abstract, it doesn't matter. It's going to be mass, or it's going to be, not mass. Or it's going to be this colors, or it's not, this other colors. So you set out an expectation, a goal you're trying to set. You're trying to meet something. The thing with this is that we get lost in the way. As we're creating the artwork, we're constantly trying to meet this picture. This happens a lot when you do realism. It happens a lot when you do anything that you have to meet, right? It happened to me a lot with portrait painting. I used to be a portrait artist, and I still create portraits, but it happened to me a lot that way. right? In a way that oh, I have to meet this, right? Cindy has to look like Cindy, right? When I paint Cindy, if Cindy doesn't look like Cindy, Cindy's mom is not going to pay me, or Cindy's dad, or whatever. You know, I'm not going to get paid. So there's an expectation to meet. Now, if you're not doing that type of work, if you're just doing general work, you know, just whatever type of different type of artwork, there's also an expectation. You have a picture, right, in your mind. I believe that's the hardest one. It's not as hard as having you're doing a portrait and, you know, this person has to look like this, you know, my painting has to look like this person, or this, you know, portrait of a cat or whatever. It becomes more difficult. Yeah, that didn't help.
I'm sorry.
It becomes more difficult when you're trying to make, when you're trying to meet it, what you have in your mind, as opposed to meet what something is in a photograph, is what I'm trying to say. I hope that came out better. When you look at a photograph and you're like, oh, I got to paint this person, or you're looking at a model, right? And I have to paint this person. The expectation is high, right? It has to look like that person, and it's going to require your skill level, right? It's going to come down to your skill level. But when the expectation of your mind, right? When you're trying to meet the expectation of your mind, it becomes even more difficult, I believe. And the reason why is because it's not set. It changes. It's dynamic. Where if you see something, you're looking at something, it doesn't move necessarily normally. Or even if it's a model, you know, even if it's a model, the pose may change a little bit. It's not really so dynamic. The mind keeps changing. The mind keeps morphing. What you thought a minute ago, next minute is going to look different in your mind. You know, let's say you want to paint something and it's in your mind and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and this is the type of red. And as you're painting, you're like, that's not the red that I envisioned. That's not the red that I wanted. You know what I mean? It's more difficult to meet the crying little baby sometimes we carry in our minds. So with that being said, I'm laughing at myself, guys, because I think I went around and around to try to land that one. With that being said, when we set out our expectations, make sure that they are the end goal, not the process. This is what I'm trying to say, really, guys. The process becomes very difficult every time we need to meet every single step. I call it the minutia, right? I call them suppressors. I have to make this painting, but it has to be this red. And it has to be this brush, and it has to be this canvas, and it has to be this, you know, all these considerations, all these conditions. And we're trying to meet, and I have to be listening to this sound, to this music while I'm creating artwork. And the light has to be perfect, and on and on and on. And I have to be in a good mood, because if I'm not in a good mood, then my painting is not going to be right. And it's all these expectations, right? This conditions have to be just right for me to be me. For me to be productive, or for me to create artwork and be original and this and that. And there's that expectation, right? There's multiple expectations, so many of them. But then there is one that it's like, I call it more like the Midas touch. Whatever I do is going to be just fine. You know, when I create a painting, I know my expectation is that I'm going to make pure gold. It's going to be great. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get there necessarily. I don't have it all figured out. But my expectation is that it's going to be just great. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to put in the work. I'm going to put in the time. I'm going to put in the effort. But I just know it's going to be great. And the process, you kind of play with it. You don't marry the process. Am I making any sense, honey?
Yes.
Yeah. It's the process, really. The process is the expectations, right? The process is like it's too complicated. It becomes too complicated because as we're creating artwork, we set up all these tiny little expectations. They're tiny. They're like, oh man, my brush work is a little different than last time, and I have to tweak it just right. And so we get married to all this. We get married to the process. And I believe that's where the artist starts suffering. The artist starts, anyone, I mean, but in this case, the artist, we start suffering because of that, because we're trying to meet expectations, again, that are not, they're not worth meeting. They really are not. only one expectation should be worth meeting. Okay, the end goal. What's the end goal? What's the purpose? I think Oprah. I heard this from Oprah. She says that every time she goes into a meeting, she only has one question: what is the purpose of this?
The intention.
The intention, right? The intention, no? What is intention? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to accomplish? So that we can remove all the BS and just focus on the accomplishment. The intention. What is the intention of this? So when you go into your studio and you're going to create artwork, what is the intention? Is the intention to be caught up in all these little things? Or is the intention to make a painting? I don't know. A painting of a tree. A painting of a duck. A painting of a whatever, right? It doesn't matter what it is. What is the purpose? Or is the purpose that you're going to go make a painting of this with a twist of that, and the brushstroke has to be perfect, and the feeling has to be great, and the music has to be, if I have music in my studio, it has to be the right music, and all these considerations, right? Or is the intention, oh no, I have to make a painting of a duck. I have to make a landscape painting.
Or even more abstract. I want to bring joy.
Yeah, even more abstract. I want to bring joy.
I want people to find peace when they see these florals.
Right. But let's say that they have to do something specific.
Oh, yeah.
They got commissioned to do, you got commissioned to do a portrait, right? What is the purpose? I have to paint this person. Not I have to paint this person with all of these considerations, right? We place all of these considerations on ourselves, and then we make it much more difficult. I know I went around this one because sometimes it's a little tricky to touch it. It's a little tricky to pinpoint it. But either way, guys, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that before I head back to the studio. Look at your intention. Like Oprah said, what is your intention next time you're going to do something? And think about the expectations that we put on ourselves. What are the expectations? Is the expectation that you create something great, like your intention? Your intention should really be the expectation, your intention. I know it sounds weird, like whatever your intention is, I'm going to paint a landscape, right? Then paint a landscape. That's the intention, and that should be the expectation. I'm doing a landscape. Not, I'm doing a landscape, but it has to have these colors, and it has to be like this, and and I have to feel this way, and it's going to be the coolest thing no one has ever seen, and I'm going to outdo myself from last time, and then blah, 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 and all these things that it's perfectionism. Really, you're perfectionists. One of my mentors says perfectionists are time thieves. You're trying to steal time. You're stealing time, and you're not realizing that. You're stealing energy from yourself and from others every time you try to go into these perfectionist routes. So, I'll leave you with that. My name is Jose Trujillo. Take care, guys. Adios.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah, Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.